to another morning glory apostolic prophetic centered video. I am your host, Hubbard. All right, something wrong here. Let me see, can I fix it? Oh well. As long as I can see myself, it gets me okay. So we're going to teach on God. I am ready for the blessing. And as I was coming home from dinner, God spoke this into my spirit. As I was saying earlier, a lot of people are ready to walk into the blessings of God, but oftentimes into that blessing requires complete obedience. And for many of you, you have been obeying God partially. So, in order to receive the fullness of what you think God may want you to have, you have to really tap in to the nature, the understanding, and the wisdom of God. So much so that you got to look at everything that you went through, every heartbreak, every lie, every evil spirit that tormented you. It was preventing you from what's about to come. And a lot of times where we mess up at is that when God getting ready to bless us, we so quick to want to bless others. You got to understand the blessings that you are about to receive, they are not to be shared outside your sphere of influence. We're going to be in Genesis chapter 12, and it reads, Now the Lord had said unto Abraham, Get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house unto a land that I will show thee. So, what's wrong with many of us is that we fail to understand who we are outside of what we are connected to. And for a lot of you, wait a minute, let me do something. I'm getting a background. How did that thing even come up there? Okay, I do it like this. Hold on, y'all. My thing messing up. Now, where was it? So watch this. Oh Lord, it's still getting background, Lord. What in the world? Oh well, I'm going with the flow. So a lot of what I've been saying for many of you, I said, who are you outside of who you connected to? So here we see uh, God gave him three things to separate from. He said, well, actually, before he said, get out that country, from thy kindred, and from thy father's house. Now, a lot of you fail to understand who you are in God because you haven't seen nothing but the place that you're in, which means that God is trying to tell you that you need to go outside of who you are. And what I meant by that is that a lot of people, you only know you only know the places that you've been. It's 50 states in America, and you only know one. So what we got to see, what we need to see is that Abraham had come to being connected to a spirit of familiarity. And what's wrong with most of us, because we are familiar with our surroundings, anything outside our surroundings is scary. I think we early something, what I said, do it in fear or do it scared, whatever it was. So a lot of the choices that you're gonna have to make between now and May 1st, you're gonna have to do it in fear. Understanding something, the Bible teaches us the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. So a lot of times the things that you fear often carry secrets that God wants to reveal to you. So once Abram was to move, God said again, I will make thee a great nation. I will bless thee and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. You got to understand when God begins to bless you, it ain't just for you, it's for more than you. But even though it's for more than you, guess what he said? He said, get out that country, get out that kindred, and from that father's house. Your blessing is not meant to be shared with, with people who have a familiar mindset. And what I mean by that, are they carnal minded or spirit minded? See, a lot of times when we get us money, let's take y'all just had the income tax check. Y'all done got these big screen TVs, y'all done got all this new hair, you can got the money, you done bought all these clothes, and now what it is, May, and now you got to hide the car. But see, y'all can't hide them now. They put them kill switches on them. So y'all be riding on the highway and go to dying down. Back in our days, if you didn't pay the car note, you used to be able to hide in your friend's yard. Y'all can't do that now. That was back then. But even now, if you go in the hood, they can find the tracking device and take it off. But that's too much trouble too. I'm just sharing that with. So why would God bless you if you don't want to increase his kingdom? The increasing of God's kingdom increases God's presence on earth. And for a lot of us, we don't want God present on earth because we want people to just continue to think we are blessed, but yet we don't know where the blessings coming from. All right. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curses thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. So Abram departed as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. Watch this. You got to be spot on with what God tells you in this season. I think a lot of you, I even been telling you, I don't care what I tell you, listen to your spirit. Because a lot of times you get to a point that a leader can lead you, but also that leader has to know when God is trying to bring you closer. So even though many people, you like how I told, and I'm usually, well, ain't no usually. Let me see now. Let me see. If I have been wrong, ain't nobody told me I've been wrong. And I'm sure if I was wrong, the way some of you feel, you would have told me I'm wrong. So I haven't been wrong. So you can't be so confident in thinking I have the answer all the time that you don't follow the way that God may be leading you, because a leader has to know when God is trying to show you something about you. All right. So what we see, what Abraham did, he he delayed the fullness of God's blessing because God's instructions were get out that country, that kindred, and from thy father's house. What does it say? And Lot went with him. So y'all got to be careful Just because that's your favorite cousin, your first cousin you grew up, you got to be careful when God is trying to do something in you. You got to be careful to what family you allow to come with you. In this instance, Lot shouldn't have been with Abram. So a lot of time we tell God we ready for the blessings, but we want other people to share in what God doing with us. Verse 5 said, and Abram took Sarah his wife and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls they had gathered in Haran, and they went forth to go into the land of Canaan, and into the land of Canaan they come. They, watch this. So God gave Lot specific instruction. Now, Lot was his brother's son. He didn't take his brother, he took his brother's son, which means what? He still took his kindred. Not only did he take his kindred, he took their substance. Not only did he took their substance, he said he took other souls that they had gotten in Haran. You got to be so careful that whatever instruction God gives you from now to May 1st, that you understand you follow it to the T. I know your mama need a new house, but if God say don't buy no new house, don't go buy mama a new house. I know your sister need a car, but if God said don't go buy him a car, don't you go buy no car? See, what we fail to see, oftentimes, when we don't fully obey the instructions of God, we lose sight of who God really is. Watch this. Because we got to understand that by Abram taking Lot with him, what that's saying is that oftentimes when you take somebody with you and God don't want them with you, they can distort the promise of God on your life. They can have you looking at something strange and making you believe it's God when it ain't God. We was in the office today putting the flow down. All right. So we having trouble because he left some tools at the house. I said, okay. I said, why don't we start at the back so we can just lay them down and it'd be easy? He said, no, you always start at the front. I said, okay, I taught something. I learned something because I opted for the easier way so I can go ahead and get started, not knowing it's the fine tuning, which means those little intricate cuts. Those are often the cuts that make you who you are. So when God tells you to do something and you take other people with you who God didn't see, if God told Abraham, you got the country, your kindred, and your father's house, that means my family is not meant to be partaker of this blessing. But at the same time, they're gonna become partakers of the blessing. Cause see, when Abram got where he was, if he would have listened to God and God established him like he's supposed to be, God probably would say, okay, now bring your family. Cause look at here, we got to go all the way to Hebrews to see how this turned out with Abram and Lot. What is Hebrew 11? Where is it? Let's find it. Hebrew 11:8. It said, by faith, Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should have to receive for an inheritance, obeyed, and he went out not knowing whether he went. By faith, he sojourned in the land of promise as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he looked for a city which have foundations, whose builder and maker is God. Watch this. So it said he obeyed, which means he obeyed partially because he went where God told him to go, but he took life. See, I taught y'all a few weeks ago over there in the book of Ruth about following people blindly. See, we're coming into a season that when these new people come to God, they're gonna want to know, do your leader have a plan for them? They ain't gonna just go to church and sit on. They're gonna ask for a plan. They want to see some power because they ain't gonna just give you no money because people tired of church. Now watch this. In verse 9, it said Abraham was in his land of promise, but to him as in a strange country. See, a lot of time when you take people with you that you don't supposed to take with you, they distort your view of God. Because for all we know, here a lot in the background. This don't look like that God got, not the big God we got. See, watch this. See, that's why he said he looked for a city which have foundation, whose builder and maker is God. See, a lot of time, God ain't finna give you no gold is and gold is. God do little bitty things. You get what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all around here praying for a husband and make six figures. But maybe God said you need a husband that can give you this one. You want a wife fine as a Coke bottle. But maybe you need a wife to show you who God is. And so a lot of times, when we don't have that relationship with God, we allow others to distort the view of God, in which we'll miss God's promises because we taking people along for the ride that shouldn't be riding. And then we come back with what you call the crab in the barrel mentality. It's not a crab in a barrel mentality. It's that you haven't got to your place of blessing to be blessed, so you call yourself blessed when you know you ain't got it like that. Look, I've been looking at some of the people on my page on Facebook. Now I ain't talking about them, but I'm just looking at how they lied about what they got. Cause see, it behooves me for some of y'all to be on Facebook. You got about 5 businesses, all of them you the CEO, but then you sharing GoFundMe for projects. When does a CEO use a GoFundMe? When? Then some of you spending money to make you look like something you ain't. I remember the first website I ever did when God called me to. I didn't have no. I had a bounce check. I wrote it, pay for the web. Now when I got the money, I put the money back in there. But watch this. I didn't make myself something that I was. That's why the Bible says, "Do not despise small beginnings." Some of y'all want to call yourself CEO and you don't even know how to be a worker. Do you know how many people? I'm looking at it now. Case in point, I done published books for a lot of people. After I get through publishing their book, I look around, all of a sudden they say they're published. But watch what they do. They billing themselves as a publisher, but you coming to me asking me for my context. How do you do this? How do you do that? Okay, you ain't no publisher because you don't know the game. And that's how y'all are with God. You crying, Lord, Lord, but you don't even know his name. So watch this. In order for you to tap into the glory and blessing of God this season, you got to look at whatever God told you to do and ask yourself, did I obey fully? See, some of y'all partially, y'all did what God told you to do, but you did it partially because the other side, you was thinking about you. You was thinking about what you got left, what you have, where you gonna move to. And watch this. That's gonna slow up what God wants to do for you. So if you're really ready for the blessing, you got to look back and see if you was obedient.